Hey, what's up guys? This is Yamiga back with a new Minecraft Dungeons video. This week, the new Howling Peaks DLC got released, which means we can get our hands on some awesome new unique weapons and armor. Today, I will be showcasing one of them, the goat gear. In this video, I will show you where to get it, and of course, if you have already found it, give you enchantment advice to make it as good as possible for your build. So guys, let's get right to it. Oh yes, the goat gear, guys. This is a very awesome new piece of armor which you can get your hands on the Howling Peaks DLC exclusively. And boy, oh boy, in my opinion, this one is very difficult to get your hands on, but at the same time, you can also be lucky and find it right off the bat. But really, what you're gonna do is search for a level that contains the climbing gear family as drop in the loot table, which looks exactly like this. So that means that you can already find it on the Colossal Rampart and the Windswept Peaks. So now you guys are probably wondering which of these two levels would be the most efficient way to farm for the climbing gear. Well guys, I would say the Windswept Peaks, because pretty early in the level you will be able to get your hands on many different golden chest spawn locations, and if you are a little bit lucky, you can also get your hands on an obsidian chest. This of course means that you will have a higher chance of finding a unique. If you haven't seen my video yet on how to find the obsidian chests on the Howling Peaks DLC, definitely make sure to check out the top right of the screen, which will lead you to it straight away. So, if we have a look at the climbing gear family's built-in enchantments, they are pretty interesting. First off, we have a minus 25% artifact cooldown, which is, in my opinion, one of the best built-in enchantments which you can get your hands on, but then also the pushback resistance. This one is a little bit less interesting, but the artifact cooldown is already very nice. If we look at the goat armor itself, it also has a pretty cool built-in enchantment, which is the gives an extra roll. I don't think this one is going to see a lot of play on the maximum apocalypse difficulty, but it definitely sounds interesting for a variety of different builds, because with the artifact cooldown and some rolling, you can definitely experiment and do some pretty cool things. Artifact cooldown is actually my favorite enchantment, which you can get built in on a piece of armor, so let's check out all the different enchantments which could be interesting for the goat armor. So the first enchantment we think about when we want to experiment with the goat gear, since it already has this give extra roll, is the acrobat. Reduces the cooldown time between your rolls, and on tier 3 this is a 45% reduced cooldown. In my opinion, definitely worth trying for some pretty cool rolling builds. Multi-roll is not something that you will be able to find on this piece of armor, guys, because it's actually the built-in enchantment. Grants extra rolls, on tier 3 grants 4 rolls. It would be very cool though if we could actually stack these up. Since we will be able to roll like a flipping ninja over the battlefield, the swift-footed enchantment is definitely going to be an awesome pick for this piece of armor. Rolling makes you move faster for 3 seconds, and that means a plus 50% movement speed on the maximum level. Of course, since we're focusing on a rolling build right here, it could be pretty cool to take Fire Trail, for example. This creates a trail of fire behind you, which deals damage to mobs for 4 seconds after rolling. But really though, this is not very reliable damage, so I definitely suggest you guys to pick something like Electrified. Rolling zaps 3 nearby enemies with lightning bolts, dealing damage. So you would be able to time your own rolls and time when you actually want to deal the damage. If you want to focus more on a cooldown reduction build, then of course cooldown reduction would be awesome to get your hands on. Reduces the cooldown time between the use of your artifacts, and this also brings us to another enchantment which is called the Speed Synergy. When activating an artifact, you gain plus 20% movement speed for a short time, but really I think the rolling will be a little bit better, because this only adds up 20% movement speed, while the swift-footed gives you a plus 50% movement speed, which is so much more. And since we're talking enchantments and builds, guys, I definitely recommend you guys to get your hands on a bow with these 3 enchantments. Burst Bowstring, Infinity, and Tempo Theft. So let me explain this for a second, because it will contribute greatly towards a rolling build. The Burst Bowstring shoots nearby mobs when you roll, costing 1 arrow per roll, and projectiles will deal a 40% of a charged shot's damage. On tier 3 this will hit up to 3 targets, and since the Winter's Touch already has a built-in multi-shot, it is very awesome. Then next up we have Infinity, so we won't run out of arrows as quickly when we're rolling. And then last but not least we have the Tempo Theft, because this one steals a small amount of a mob's movement speed and gives it to you for 4 seconds when you actually roll with the burst bowstring. So this will give you so much more movement speed because you will automatically hit enemies with the burst bowstring. And then, of course, you will steal the movement speed with the Tempo Theft. So that is extra movement speed added up to the rolling. Of course, we just talked about some very awesome cooldown reduction and speedrun enchantments. But then again, if you were an Apocalypse Plus, you're definitely gonna need a little bit of survivability as well. In my opinion, chilling is one of the most important enchantments out there for maximum Apocalypse play, because this emits a blast every 2 seconds that reduces the movement and attack speed of nearby enemies for 1 second. On tier 3 this is minus 60%, so you will be able to run through those big packs of enemy mobs and you will reduce their movement speed so they won't be able to catch up, and if they actually do, they will have a reduced attack speed, which is very awesome to have. Final Shout, also very awesome. This will trigger your artifacts when you drop below 25% HP, and this actually ignores the cooldown periods, so you don't have to focus on a lot of cooldown reduction on your armor. This actually works very well with things like the Ironhide Amulet and the Gong of Weakening, so you will be able to make this piece of armor very tanky and deal a lot of damage at the same time. Okay, so the goat gear which I currently have doesn't have the best enchantments out there, but we can definitely make something interesting which will be viable for Apocalypse play. So what we're gonna do is first start off with a tier 3 chilling enchantment. Next up, I'm gonna take the Final Shout. We're gonna also put this to tier 3 and then a tier 3 Acrobat. So we will have a lot of survivability and we'll be able to roll quite often. And of course, I also have the Winter's Touch on my offhand, so this will be pretty interesting. Alright, so let's check out this piece of armor in action. We're gonna travel to the Windswept Peaks and show you some Apocalypse level 7 plus 20 gameplay. Alright, so guys, here we are at the base camp of the Windswept Peaks, a pretty epic place to chill out. But really, let's get right to it. So you can tell that with the cooldown reduction, with this ground extra roll, we will be able to roll quite often with this gear. Let's start rolling right now. So you can tell that it goes very fast, but right now it doesn't look very fancy. This is gonna happen when we actually meet some enemy mobs. So when we do this, we can steal their movement speed with the Tempo Theft, which is currently on my bow, and the chilling enchantment on my armor will also greatly reduce the movement speed of enemies, so they will have some issues catching up with me. Right now we can enable our tanky and attack speed abilities in order to take down these mobs without a problem. And yes, of course, if you drop to low HP, this will also trigger the Final Shout, which will then again trigger all your abilities and of course make you a little bit tankier. And wow, we actually just got our hands, and whoa, that was strange, but we just found a goat armor and died, so that was pretty weird. Alright, so we found a new goat gear with Acrobat and then some other pretty interesting enchantments like Death Barter, Potion Bayer, which is also one of my favorites for Apocalypse play. I think the armor itself looks very awesome, but at the same time it also lacks some survivability, because if one of those guys actually hits me, look at that, it almost kills me, so it definitely is a little bit tricky to use this on Apocalypse level 7 plus 20. Nevertheless, it looks really cool, and something like Final Shout will definitely aid you in battle, because boy oh boy, sometimes these guys will hit you like a truck, so definitely make sure to keep an Ironhide Amulet with you at all times. Alright, so that is pretty much it for this new unique. Now you know where to find it and which enchantments will be great to get your hands on. If you enjoyed watching this video, it would be very much appreciated if you could hit that like button for a second, and of course subscribe for more Minecraft and Minecraft Dungeons content, because there is so much more coming your way. Oh, and if you have bad luck finding a certain unique for yourself, or if you found one with gold roll enchantments, leave it in the comments down below, and I am also pretty certain that you will love our Discord channel. We have a very active Minecraft community with lobbies for multiplayer, trading, events like giveaways and so much more, so definitely make sure to check it out in the description. Guys, thanks a lot for watching. Right now it is 4 AM out. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.